Greetings all and welcome to Spooky or Nah. Today we're looking at a video done by Onesie Entertainment, 4 True Scary Stories animated. Now I haven't watched this video yet, so we'll be watching it together for the first time. Looks pretty good. I mean, the thumbnail is pretty catchy, and I haven't looked at anything like this before, so it'll be interesting, especially because it's 4 true scary stories. We'll have to see if the title holds up. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Last year, I had a classmate who didn't like to socialize. I was the only one who spoke to her. One day, she messaged me an article about cat abuse, knowing that I had a cat. I replied to her, saying, "Wow, that's literally insane." She then started pretending she was close to me and continued to send articles about cat abuse or pictures of dead, such as road-killed cats. Feeling uncomfortable, I slowly began to avoid her.
That is messed up. That's super creepy. Like, that's super stalkerish. Oh my gosh. That's something that would actually happen too. So far this is feeling pretty true. Because, I think at one point or another we've all kind of experienced something where somebody's kind of, really trying to be your friend or trying to like force themselves, onto you in like a social way, and you're just not having it, but they don't get the hint. But I must admit, I've never had people send me videos of dead cats and cat abuse videos. That would be concerning.
And one day, I suddenly felt like she took a picture of me. While she
that animation, sorry. It's just like...
I decided to secretly check her cell phone. Surprisingly, the phone was not locked, so I could easily enter her photo gallery. And then, what I saw was horribly shocking. There were over 80 photos of me that I didn't even know she took. I got goosebumps when I saw the folder's name. It had my name. And there was one more folder, Cat, which contained pictures of dead bodies and the several articles that my friend had sent me.
Dead bodies too? That's when you call the police.
This story is about my friend's sister. The friend's family was living in a large apartment complex. One day, his sister went out, and this incident happened at that moment. Her ex-boyfriend, who was waiting for her, hit her on the head with a piece of sidewalk block and just killed her. The security ran towards them in surprise, but he ran away, went up to the roof of another apartment complex, and killed himself on the spot.
Whoa! Okay. That's not scary, that's just messed up. That's just straight up murder. Oh my goodness gracious. Alright, well, that's something.
After that, there were 2 memorial altars set up for both the woman and the man. And ironically, they were located right next to each other. And
Why would they locate them right next to each other? I mean, surely they knew that this was like a murder-suicide. I mean, they knew the context of this story, and yet they still put them together. Like, that's a little bit of a insult to the families there, wouldn't you think?
Meanwhile, the bereaved family of the man insisted on this. They told my friend's family, "Let's join their souls in marriage." My friend's parents panicked, so they eventually fought with the bereaved family of the man, cursing at them. He told me later that everyone in the memorial altar went crazy that day.
Whoa, that is super creepy. Okay, so the parents of the boyfriend were obviously pretty messed up too. Like, that family is obviously totally okay with their son straight up murdering his ex-girlfriend. And then there's just, wow, that was a lot. Anyway.
One of my teachers told us about a dream she had. She had a dream about 3 or 4 years after her grandfather passed away. In her dream, it was raining hard, and her grandfather, who completely got wet, tried to pass his socks to my teacher. Even though she loved him very much, she kept refusing because she didn't want to receive them for some reason. Then suddenly, the view abruptly changed, and my teacher was in the car. She was driving through a very big tunnel. At some point, she started dozing off, pressed on the brake, and then woke up. She thought it was just a strange dream at first. Another day, she was driving in a car with her husband. She usually doesn't sleep when she's in the car, but she started dozing off in the front passenger seat on that day. When she woke up, she found that the place they were passing through was the same big tunnel she saw in her dream, and her husband.
That's creepy stuff right there, because like, who's ever had dreams like that? You know, you have a dream of this place, you're like, I don't remember ever coming here, I don't remember ever seeing this person or whatever, and then you go out in the public and you see that person, or a person that looks strikingly similar to them, and you just get chills down your spine, like, this is weird. It's like a paradox or something, like you're in a different dimension. And then the different one with places is like this chick in the car, you know, driving through the tunnel and then realizing that she's seen this place before, almost like deja vu, but then you realize, like, no, I've dreamt this before, you know, and it could have been somewhere you visited when you were a kid and your brain stored that memory, sure, but it's still super creepy.
Husband was falling asleep next to her as well. Being startled, she immediately woke her husband up, and they returned home safely. She suddenly remembered her dream, so she visited an expert to get any advice on dream interpretation.
Alright, well, the thing that got me there is visited an expert. I mean, yeah, this one is obviously a sensitive topic because a lot of people, mediums and clairvoyants and things like that, this is obviously their living and this is what they believe in. But I don't know if I'd call someone in that field an expert. I think you would have to, like, a scientist is an expert, a doctor is an expert, a pilot is an expert. Sure, they technically might be an expert at what they do, but what they do is contentious. It's still up into the air, still up in the air as to whether there's any sort of scientific truth or substance actually to it. You know, so it's interesting. So that expert thing just got me. I mean, I don't know. Whoever watches this, they are a clairvoyant or a medium, whatever. Like, I'm not trying to discredit you. I'm not, nothing like that. I'm just saying that, you know, what they do is still, you know, up for debate.
And the story goes like this. When you receive an item from a person who passed away, then you will die. Anyway, my teacher soon forgot about it for several years.
You will die. Anyway, my teacher soon forgot.
Until 7 years had passed. That day was the day they were going to change the place of her grandfather's grave, and the moment when they opened his coffin, they could see his wet body was floating in water. The strange thing was that the flesh had not yet rotted. She could see that the body had a bit of volume. She ended up thinking that her grandfather, who had been standing in the rain in a dream, might have wanted her to know of his current condition. However, this wasn't the only surprise. It turned out that it wasn't only her. Other relatives had the same dream. This
creepy. Another thing with the dream thing, you know, it's like when people have the same dreams. It's like that guy that face that people always see in their dreams. That, like, the guy looks exactly the same, and there's that whole, you know, dream paradox conspiracy thing that, you know, this guy is like a dream person kind of thing, and yeah. Interesting. I love that stuff.
Isn't a scary story, but I've been the clumsy type ever since I was a child, so accidents used to happen a lot. And once I almost died. I was the girl who really loved animals, so without thinking, I walked onto a road where cars were moving crazy fast. I didn't put much thought into the things I did when I was a child. However, as soon as I stepped in, I heard several voices coming from behind me.
Watch out!
Surprised, I fell backward and fortunately wasn't on the road. But when I looked back, there was no one behind me. My big brother was there, and with a tearful voice he said, "Hey, what if you got hurt? You shouldn't let go of my hand." My brother came out of the store and ran towards me right away. So that must mean that my...
Why was he so far away if he's supposed to be holding her hand and looking after her, and he's running to her from like 300 meters away, like full sprinting? How long did it take him to realize that she wasn't there?
brother was the only one who called out to me at that moment. However, I then heard dozens of people calling out to me, yelling, "Watch out."
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Not quite sure what that could be. With the whole voices thing, I really don't know. Maybe she caught a sort of a bit of a glimpse of a radio nearby or something. Maybe she yeah, I don't know. To be honest, it's kind of baffling me. I'm not 100% sure what that means or like what that is. I mean, yeah, there's been times in my life as well where I've been doing something and I've heard a voice. Like, there's been times where I was working one time and my little brother was at, I think it was my dad's house, and he was riding motorbikes and stuff. He was quite little, and I was, smaller motorbikes, but I was still worried about him. And anyway, I was at work, and I still swear to this day I heard his voice behind me, just call my name, and it was super creepy. Like, I turned around, and I'm like, first instance was like, that's my brother. So I turn around, and obviously nothing's there, but that was a really weird thing for me too. And I called Dad up, and I was like, "Oh, is Darcy okay?" Just in case he'd been hurt or something, and something was, I don't know, something was trying to tell me. I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence with the whole ghost thing. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I don't believe it. I'm kind of still making up my mind in the whole thing. That's why I enjoy watching these videos. So I don't know what it was, but to this day, it still creeps me out a little bit because I don't know what it was. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. If you liked the video, please like it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, please, because it really helps out the channel. And I think that's about it for this one. Stick around for the next one. Until then, keep it spooky.
Can you feel this?